Well, for now at least, the bleeding seems to have stopped. Futures are telling us that US stocks have pointed higher, but after yesterday's maelstrom, it's an eerie calm hanging over the markets. Brendan Conway is here with more on how the day is shaping up for investors. Good morning, Brendan.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Oh God, that was a hair-raising experience yesterday. How do things look today?
Yeah, you know, the futures are higher, and the one thing that's nice for traders out there today, you don't have any major economic data, you don't have any, kind of landmark events. The Fed hopefully will not be saying anything, so gives folks a day to recoup, and at last check, the Dow is up about 80 points or so in the pre-market.
Okay. Anything on the horizon that we should be watching, though? I mean, clearly there's concerns about China. What other issues are out there?
Mike, I would just point out China because for all that the focus in the U.S. here was on what the Fed is doing and saying, overseas markets were already reacting to what looks like a brewing, turmoil in the banking sector in China. Not an issue that a lot of U.S. investors keep an eye on there, but certainly, growth there continues to slow in that country. And
spiking rates, a big problem. So let's look at how things look there. Still lower in China and Hong Kong, but it looks like Japan rebounded a bit.
Japan was helped by the yen. That continues to be a currency story, continues to be a central bank story. I mean, you see the whole country's index basically trades like a technology stock.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. There's a strong correlation you see between these developments. I think we have European markets as well to look at, right? Let's have a look there. So yeah, a little bit more green there. So as we move out of that sort of the trauma of Asia, and maybe this does reflect something that China, it also perhaps reflects the fact that they're the first and only place to react to the US. But you have that negative start to the day. We start to pick up a little bit as things look a bit more rosy into the European day, and now one would suggest an improvement here in the US.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bounce. I'd be shocked if we recovered everything that was lost yesterday.
No, that's a big call. So what else are we looking at? What three stocks you got?
Well, the one big mover that's out there today, I would say Oracle. This one is down about 7% in the pre-market. Traders are just sour over their latest earnings report. Second straight quarter where they don't show a lot of top-line growth. The cloud computing is this big buzzword lately. There's a lot of hype around that, but it is a real business. For Oracle, that segment, with a couple other things, only delivered about 1% growth. So the fact that they doubled their dividend and they authorized new buybacks, investors are ignoring that and they're looking at growth. They're saying, this is a tech sector company, it's supposed to be growing. Don't just give us a dividend. But the other one I'm looking at, not a stock, but the price of gold, always interesting.
Interesting one, that one, yes.
The gold fell more than 6% yesterday, which frankly, Mike, kind of surprised me because we've been talking about the so-called taper, the Fed, and what the Fed is going to do is, so important to the price of gold. We've been talking about that for months, and yet still yesterday, it was enough to make gold tumble 6%.
Yeah.
So that has to be frightening to a lot of people who think gold is a haven, because clearly right now it's not.
It's up 0.5% this morning, so maybe it's getting a little bit of that bounce back, but as you say, a long way to come back to retrace those losses.
It can't even get to 1,300, which is not where gold bulls were hoping to be right now.
Yeah, indeed. And thirdly, Darden Restaurants. Darden
is interesting. Another slow growth story here. That stock is off about 0.5 percentage point. Key takeaway there is the CEO basically said, in so many words, 2014 is going to be kind of a slow growth, sluggish environment, both for the broader economy and for the restaurant business. Keep in mind, this is the company that runs Olive Garden, Red Lobster, kind of a nice middle America
franchise names,
view there. And they just don't see a lot of good things going on right now.
Great, Brendan. Thank you very much.